Okay, my name is Jonathan Montiel. Uh, so for my gender policy presentation, I chose to do uh, it on maternity and paternity leave in the United States. Uh, so in 1993, the United States passed a law that was called the Family and Medical Leave Act. This law pretty much provides certain employees up to 12 weeks of unpaid job protected leave per year. So pretty much this act was designed to help employees balance their work and family responsibilities by allowing them to take reasonable unpaid leave for certain family and medical reasons. So not everyone is eligible for or qualifies for this leave. So there are certain qualifications. So you have to at least have been working for the past 12 months or a year for your employer, and you have to have at least worked 1,250 hours in the past 12 months, and you have to be employed by a company who employs 50 or more employees within a 75-mile radius. So those are the three qualifications that you need to have or you need to meet in order to qualify for this leave. And this is the only labor law in the United States that actually talks about parental leave. And even then, it doesn't really do much because not every single employee in the United States qualifies to get this kind of leave from work. And actually, the United States is only is one of two countries, industrialized countries, that does not have a guarantee of paid leave for their employees. So how does this relate to gender? So in Gamble & Gamble, it says, while not solving all problems and not covering all workers, the act resolved some of the tensions around work and family. When leave is taken, typically it is the woman who takes it, again paying homage to the stereotype of the male as the breadwinner. Most developed countries have more lenient leave policies than the United States, with many granting the father paternity leave as well. Again, in the United States, workers have to choose between work and family, making money and sustaining family relationships. Explaining once more why women seek careers that provide time for them to take care of their family. So that was found in the textbook, and it talks about the Family and Medical Leave Act. So the issue with this policy is that the government has placed is that it leaves both genders at mercy of state legislators and company policies. So if you live in a state that doesn't really have laws regarding paid family leave, then it's pretty much you're relying on the Family and Medical Leave Act so that you can get some time off to take care of your new child. But then again, local states can implement laws, and also companies can create policies that offer paid paternal leave. But most of the time, those policies are subject to discrimination, because what they do is they set up policies that are aimed towards women most of the time, and they set up stereotypes for the genders pretty much. Companies generally aim their policies towards women, leaving men out of the solution. And by doing that, they create and reinforce age-old gender roles that women are the caretakers and that men are only there pretty much as secondary caretakers or just there to provide. So the two positions that I have chosen to talk about are, the first one is that many companies now are attempting to make gender neutralizing parental leave policies. And the second is that paternity leave carries a stigma that contradicts the gender norm of society. So the first one, many companies are attempting to make gender neutralizing parental leave policies. So now that people are becoming more aware of how there aren't many laws in the United States that help with family leave. They're now becoming more gender. Companies are trying to create policies that are more gender neutral and makes it equal for both women and men. So because there aren't many federal laws regarding parental leave, many companies and states are left to fend for themselves and decide what kinds of laws and policies they will put in place. And often or not, the policies that companies do put into place can lead towards discrimination because most of the time they allow mothers to take time off, but not fathers, or they allow more time for mothers and not fathers, and that creates kind of a gender inequality in the workplace. So the way companies try to make gender neutral policies is by wording them differently, trying to use more neutral words like primary caretaker and secondary caretaker. But over the recent years, companies have received a lot of criticism for automatically assuming who is the primary caretaker, who is the secondary caretaker, and just assuming the different roles that the new parents will pretty much assume. So for companies to be successful in creating these gender neutralizing policies, they will have to create appropriate policies for a society whose family structures are changing and roles of parents are starting to evolve constantly. So the reason for gender neutral policies is that it shows that companies understand the changing attitudes around family structure and parenting, and creating a parental leave policy for all employees equally allows companies to promote a more diverse and supportive corporate culture that values its employees. So a lot of companies who do have gender neutral parental leave policies, they're pretty much investing more in their employees, and what they're getting back is pretty much more from their employees, is that they have higher work productivity and they have greater retention rates. So the next position that I'm talking about is paternity leave carries a stigma that contradicts the gender norm of society. So in an article that we read in class by Nick Trujillo, he states that traditionally such patriarchal representations include males as breadwinners, family protectors, whereas females are housewives and nurturing mothers. So many men are hesitant to ask for paternity leave when they do have a new baby, even though it is available to them. Men don't exercise that right too much because most of the time they do fear that it'll be perceived as them not caring for their job, or that they might lose their job, or that there is no support from leaders in the company that encourage them to take their paternity leave. So companies whose policies are aimed at women uphold outdated norms and stereotypes that inhibit equality in the workforce and also in the society. So pretty much it falls to companies to create policies that bring cultural change and make paternity leave the norm. So Trujillo also states that modern representations of the so-called sensitive father have remained hegemonic insofar as the contemporary revalorization of fatherhood has enabled many men to make the best of both worlds, because there are more involved in what was once the exclusive domain of women, especially in relation to children. So now that times are changing, more fathers are taking their paternity leaves, and they are using their right. So when men have equal opportunities to be caregivers, and company policies regard men as equal responsible to caregiving, it pretty much levels the playing field for both genders by dividing caregiving responsibilities equally between them. And it also allows for professional growth in the workplace, not just for men, but for women. So companies that vocally encourage paternity leave, they really do oppose gender roles and make it feel socially acceptable to be able to take the paternity leave without having to worry about career consequences. And that's my presentation.